Hey, what's going on, everybody? Some exciting news today. We just got in the mail a WEBASTO heater for our van. So last winter we kind of survived. You know, we had a ton of blankets. We'd wake up in the morning, turn the van on, let the heater go in, jump back in bed, curl up until it finally warmed up. But not this year. This year we're gonna be thriving. It's gonna be great. I've heard this is very, very complicated to install. I watched whatever little YouTube videos there are on this, but I'm going to try to tackle it myself. Getting it installed professionally is about $1,600, and your boy's unemployed. Can't do that. So I'm going to try to do it myself. Figured I'd shoot a little, unboxing video right now. Spend the next couple days trying to install it, and I'll film it, take you along with me. Good news, I'm back. Took me a little while, had to piece it all together, but I think I finally solved the puzzle. Okay, I'm gonna take you through it with me. So, we're looking at this. Start from the WEBASTO unit itself. Okay, so you got this cannon plug. That's gonna plug directly into the top of the heater. You follow this around. This fuse right here, that just clips right into that. This looks like you would mount it to a wall or mount it to something, and that would fit right into this little groove. You continue following it around. You have the positive and negative terminal that you would attach to your battery. Then you have the plug that connects to your control head right here. Then when you come back to this part, we have the wire that's coming from the heater itself and these two plugs. So when you push on this little metal part, it disconnects. These are the ones that those little metal pieces that we had before. You can kind of see on the inside there, there's like a mouth piece to it, and then like a female end on this side, and that's what makes the connection there for those two, which then, if you follow this, brings you to your fuel pump. So the fuel pump gets plugged into that part of the WEBASTO. Here's the mounting piece for the pump. When you follow the fuel line around, this is what goes into the fuel tank. So basically, it's going to go fuel tank. We got a hose barb here that's going to need 2 hose clamps. It's going to go through the fuel line. We'll have another hose clamp on this one right here. Through the fuel pump, there's an arrow on it pointing the direction it needs to go. So I'll have to probably cut this in half, plug it into this side, which would then feed into here, and that's how the WEBASTO would get its fuel. We got the air intake with a hose clamp, and then hose clamp here for the exhaust. And then these nuts and washers go on the bottom side, which, now that I'm thinking about it, nope, that would be fine. The bolts for this, there aren't any. So I'm going to have to buy some bolts that are going to go into the floor so that I can mount it to the floor of the van, because it looks like it wasn't included in the packaging. But to mount the WEBASTO to this plate, they give us the nuts and the washers for it, and then I'll need four bolts for that. But yeah. Oh, and then one more thing. We got the, I guess, duct work for the heat to come out, which has a little mounting plate or a little vent right here, and then it gives us a pack of zip ties. So all in all, pretty much complete minus the bolts. So I think now it's really just a matter of finding out exactly where I'm going to drill the hole in the van for all that to go through the bottom. It took a while, I guess, to figure out and piece it all together. It's kind of like solving a puzzle, but I think I got there, so cool. Anyways. Okay, so before I start cutting this, I'm gonna show you exactly where I'm gonna put it. So here is, let me orient you. Here's the driver's seat. And this is how I found out where it was, because it's really hard to find when you're underneath the van exactly where you are. So what I did is I got the general area. I measured out from the door and got as close as I could while I was under the van. Found a good spot, and I just decided to drill a little pilot hole, which is what I did right here. That goes all the way through the bottom. And when I looked underneath, I saw that it was in a good spot, and that's where I'm gonna put it. So basically I'm gonna use that 4-inch hole saw to cut right where those, that's basically an outline of the mounting plate that WEBASTO comes with. So let me show you what that looks like from underneath. I'm using the GoPro now because it's got a lot of a wider angle of a lens. So let's crawl under here. So again, here's the front tire. Come under. This right here is the fuel tank. And when you look up here, there it is. There's the hole that I drilled. So I'm gonna have all this area. This is basically gonna be my only obstacle, but I'll have all this area to feed those lines through. And looked over doing it kind of in the middle, and it was just too crowded. I didn't want to hit any of these, let it focus here. Didn't want to hit any of these bolts with that hole saw. So this is where I found the most room to work with. All right, let's talk about what just happened. I don't know what I could have done differently, but that hole saw that I got absolutely fried. The teeth are completely gone. It barely cut through. In fact, it didn't cut through the metal bottom of the van. So what I ended up doing, I don't know where that drill bit went, but I ended up getting a drill bit, drilling a bunch of little holes along the outside where the hole saw cut, just, you know, to the point where it was just little pieces of metal holding it on, and then it was able to, you know, basically force its way out. So let's take a look at this, because this is kind of ugly. Look at that hack job. It's pretty bad. I have a metal file that I'm going to use to clean it up, then I'm going to paint it, prime it so it doesn't rust. But I am not proud of that. That was not my cleanest project, not the best I've ever done. So the hole saw said it was meant for cutting through metal, and I think it lied to me, because that was not good. Please leave in the comments what other people have done differently, or what you have done differently if you've done this before. How do you cut through the bottom of your van so easy? I've watched tons of videos, and when people do it, it's like they get their drill and they go straight through the bottom. But that was probably an hour of just figuring it out and trying to get it solved. And I mean, look at this. This is horrible. Anyways, glad that's over with. Really. Let's put this heater in, shall we? Okay, so basically what I'm going to be doing now is I have the entire fuel line. I'm going to connect it. Before I mount it down, I'm going to connect it to the bottom of the WEBASTO. Let's see if the lighting will fix itself, but there's this hose right here. Going to connect the fuel line to that, run it through the bottom, connect it to the fuel pump. Well, at least find how much line I need to go to the fuel pump, cut it, I guess attach it to the fuel pump on one side, and then run the remainder of that back through and up to the fuel tank. Not gonna lie, this is kind of, I knew it was gonna be really hard. I was right. This is hard. So here it is with the fuel line. I ran it up underneath the heat shield, across there and into the bottom of the WEBASTO. So now what I'm gonna do is drop the rest of the fuel line through the bottom of the gas tank, like right where those cables come from. Drop the fuel line through there, run it through all of this stuff, and connect it to the other end of the fuel pump. I'm gonna drop it down right where these cables go. It actually goes all the way down through the bottom. I don't even know if you can see that from the camera. Probably not. But anyways, I'm gonna feed most of it through here, and the other end is gonna come to this point right here, which I have the little adapter for. But the 1/4 inch fuel line and the 1/4 inch to 1/8 inch barbed adapter are coming in the mail later today. So hopefully they show up on time and I can just connect it tonight. So here we go. All right, one thing I just remembered, I never spray painted the metal after I cut it. So now I'm gonna crawl under here, probably make a huge mess. Oh. Just so I don't have rust. Okay, better late than never, but would have been a lot easier if I remembered to do that before putting it in. Okay, so I just basically plugged in the electrical setup for it. I ran it down behind my cabinets. I drilled a hole here for this one because I couldn't get it to go all the way through, but basically, so essentially right up on the wall right here underneath the MAXXAIR fan remote. And if you look down here, I have the cable going all the way through. Don't worry, I'll vacuum all this up later. And then super dark down here, but let me get a flashlight on it. Got the hole there, comes up, and now here's the fuse for it right here. And I purchased on Amazon. It'll also come today. So this positive and negative is gonna plug in right into one of these. Oh, I believe they're called 5525 DC. So it'll go off of the Energy Apex. So I think I've done just about everything I can up into the point of needing that 1/4 inch to 1/8 inch adapter, the plugs for this, and the 1/4 inch fuel line. So almost done, almost there. Well, I opened up the packages from Amazon that I just got and seem to be missing a piece. I have the 1/4 inch fuel line. I have the electrical. This is what's gonna plug into my solar generator there. So basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut this off, combine the positive and the negative wires and plug it in. So this right here, this stuff will plug into this guy, which is super easy. From Amazon, it just disconnects. Come on. Like I said, it disconnects super easy, but then I can't do it. So disconnects, plugs right into that little nipple. So I'll have a 1/4 inch tube coming out of this. Then I need that 1/8 inch adapter, 1/4 to 1/8 inch adapter to plug into this, which is the fuel line to the fuel pump. Hey, so just to explain what I'm doing here, I had this cable This is the part that plugs into my solar generator. And then this was at the end of it. I don't need that, so I stripped it using one of these guys. I found the positive and the negative, stripped that so the wire was showing, and then now I'm gonna do the same with the positive and the negative from the heater. Connect the two, plug it in, and see if it works. Okay, so we know the electrical is working, so let's kind of play around with this. Let's see what happens if we vent it. Because I don't have the fuel line set up, so I don't want to. Level 4, let's go all the way. Sure, 10 minutes. Oh, no way, it's going. I'm super excited that that works. Oh my gosh. So yesterday I cut all the pieces for the step that goes over the WEBASTO, and this is it, dry fit. I didn't film it yesterday because I was also helping a friend out with a different project, so we were kind of doing two things at once. And anyways, not trying to make excuses, but I'll show you what I did. This is how it looks. When I cut this hole out, there's some blowout. That's what all that spackling, or I guess wood filler stuff is. But I put a little hinge on it right here. That way I can get to the heater if I need to, and then have some storage down there for whatever I might need. So I kind of feel bad for, you know, telling you, oh, I'll show you how I build this swivel step, and then I don't film any of it. So I'm just going to tell you kind of the dimensions that I used. So this part right here, the base of it, the legs, excuse me, the legs are 8.5 inches tall. That's a perfect height for the swivel seat and for your legs to sit comfortably. This piece right here, I got this was all one 2 foot by 4 foot sheet of 3/4 inch plywood. This part right here was the width of it, so this is 24 inches, and this part right here was 22 inches. I cut a 5-degree angle on this guy. You can barely even tell, but that just helps flush it up nice and seamless to get this little angle to marry up with the door frame. And then, you know, I just put another piece on that was squared off, scribed a line underneath it, cut it with a circle saw, and that married up pretty good. And then this piece right here was one long, I want to say 20, I'll put it on the screen how long it was. It was like 25, I think. But then 16 inches wide, and I put a 2x4 right on this step, and just with a circle saw just cut it, attached it with hinges, and that's how I got this piece right here. And then this piece was like 8.5 by 8 or something like that. So it was honestly really simple to build. This plug right here takes a 2.5 inch hole saw, and it fits in perfectly. So all that, it really didn't take that long. It was actually pretty easy. But yeah, again, I apologize for not filming any of that. Probably should have. Okay, so a little bit of a curveball. I thought I was just gonna paint it either black or gray, but I found some leftover flooring from when I did the van a year ago, and I was like, huh, I wonder what that might look like. So coming in here, I put a piece on top. I think what I'll do is the top part, just for durability, because I'm thinking the black would get super dirty, or just any paint. So for durability, putting the flooring on top, and then painting this black. So I got the top pieces on as far as the smaller boards go. I think those look pretty nice. Kind of liking the look of it so far. Here I got these two cut to length. Piece them together. So they're cut to length, and I marked the center point right here and marked where I need to rip them to get them to fit on here. Then once I'm done with that, I can cut a line or cut it across so that they line up with this line right here. I can put the hinges back on, and this side will be done. So one thing that's super important when you're cutting flooring is both sides are different. So you always want to double, triple check that you're cutting the right side. Because if the board was like this, and I cut this lip off down here, see that? If I cut this off, and that was the side that's supposed to come over here and line up with this lip, I'd be screwed. So here it is. All of it's cut to size. I was worried about these screws not being long enough to go into the plywood, but it's actually working out pretty freaking good. So let's go dry fit it and see what it looks like. Check this out. That looks sweet. Yeah, I like this look a lot. Normally I would paint outside, but it looks like it's going to be raining today, so it's going to be all done in the garage. And there it is. Completely installed. I really like the way the flooring looks on top. But looking at it now, I thought, painting this part would help blend it in, but I don't really like it that much, so I think I'm definitely going to get some 90-degree either angle iron or just regular trim. Yeah, flips up. I added this 2x4 here just because this side didn't really have any support, so it goes back pretty far and supports that, so if I'm stepping on it, it doesn't fall apart. But yeah, all in all, pretty happy about it. And then sitting on it, it's pretty comfortable. So this is where I'm going to end today's video. I hope you guys really liked it. Hope you learned something. It was pretty difficult installing the heater. The step was not as difficult, but a pretty clutch addition to the van. So if you guys liked it, if you enjoyed it, please let me know. Like this video, comment down below, and subscribe, hit that notification bell, all that good stuff. I'll see you guys in the next one.